Mr. Revolver Guy here with dayattherange.com, and a beautiful specimen on the bench with me today, a K22 Masterpiece by Smith & Wesson. Post-war, third model, and some of you may reference it as the pre-model 17. Meaning that Smith & Wesson didn't actually start numbering their revolvers until around about 1957. So that will give you a little bit of a clue that this one was made before 1957. Before we go into the identification features of what makes this a 5-screw revolver, can't talk this morning, on what makes this a 5-screw revolver, let's do our customary safety check. And that's pretty simple on a revolver. Unlatch the cylinder, swing it open, as you can see there. Nothing in the cylinder. There's no .22 ammunition on the bench with me today. And there is nothing, no .22 in the bore. So moving on to what makes this a 5-screw revolver. And from a collection standpoint, a lot of the collectors see the 5-screw revolvers as the cream of the crop of when Smith & Wesson was really on top of their game from a quality perspective. From 1905 to about 1955, most of the Smith & Wesson revolvers had 5 screws. The 5th screw was eliminated around about, I think, between 1957 and 1961, but that'll be discussed on the next video when I have a follow-up specimen that is only a 4-screw, which we'll compare to this one and get into those identification features. So hang in there and stick with me. So identification features of what makes this a collector model, or a 5-screw remodel, if you will, is screw number 1 on the side plate, screw number 2, screw number 3. Now where's that 4th screw? That's right. Most forget that on a 5-screw revolver, this 4th screw is in the front of the trigger guard. Okay, and then you have the 5th screw, which was eliminated in the 4-screw model, on top of the frame as well. Now, other identification features that, for me at least, made this a collector's model, and this is not mine. I was so gracious, and I want to thank a good friend of mine for loaning this to me for this particular review. Those other features, or some other features that makes this an early model or early production model K22 Masterpiece, is the ribbing on the top of the revolver. But it's not just the ribbing that comes into place. As you see the serrations, or the ribs on top of the revolver, as it gets down towards the end of the barrel, it gets narrower. And that was only done, as I understand it, on the early model Smith & Wesson revolvers, or 5-screw revolvers. Other features that help identify this is the serial number. And according to the serial number for this particular revolver, this has a born on date of 1953. Other identification pieces that collectors see as, again, Smith & Wesson being at the top of their game in quality, is a pinned front sight. You also have a hammer mounted firing pin. So the firing pin, I'm sorry, it is not a hammer mounted firing pin. The firing pin is actually in the frame. In the later models, you'll see that they Smith & Wesson moved the firing pin from the frame onto the hammer. But you see here, the firing pin is actually in the frame on this model. I never dry fire .22, sorry. That's a great debate also out on the internet. But me personally, I'll never do that. And then you have the micro click rear blade or rear sight, bladed rear sight there. Let's see, what other features do we have on this gorgeous K22 Masterpiece? Other identification features on the barrel, 6-inch barrel. You have 22 long rifle CTG stamped on the side. Made in the USA, also stamped on the side of the frame, along with the Smith & Wesson logo on the side of the frame. Oh yeah, one other thing. This is a square butt revolver. And on the square butt revolver, this has been a debate of me and some of my friends or other shooting enthusiasts. You can find it out on the net about this particular hole in the early production models. Why was it there? And as I understand it from talking to a few experts and having some revolvers, having talked to Smith & Wesson and having some letters from Smith & Wesson done by the Historian Society, this particular hole was put there for assembly purposes at the factory. So there was some sort of tooling that would hold the frame in place, as I understand it, while the barrel was being pinned into the frame. So that in no way is some sort of hole put there to lighten the frame or anything of that nature. Doesn't necessarily weaken the frame in my view, but it is there for assembly purposes from the factory. And really, folks, that's really about it, and what makes this a little bit more collectible than other 4-screw, 3-screw models. But what makes something collectible is really the owner and what it means to them and what tickles their fancy. I happen to like 5-screw revolvers from Smith & Wesson. Unfortunately, this one is not mine, but great specimen. And so from here, we're going to head out to the range. This revolver can be used for target practice. It can be used for hunting, can be used for plinking. Today, I've got some 22 pistol match ammo that we are going to take out to the range and put some rounds down range on target to see what it groups like on target, and then also just have some fun plinking around with 22. I will tell you, for some of the identification features that I may have missed or facts that I may have gotten wrong, the reloadingnetwork.com, there are some very, very smart individuals over on the Reloading Network, and I would encourage you guys to visit the reloadingnetwork.com, where you can learn more about Smith & Wesson revolvers, where you can learn a heck of a lot about reloading. Whether you're an experienced reloader, and I've been doing it for 20 years, and I still learn things from those guys over there on the Reloading Network, whether you're an experienced revolver reloader or a novice reloader, it doesn't matter. From those folks over on the reloadingnetwork.com, you can learn a lot. It's not just about reloading though. You can learn about this Smith & Wesson K22, where the video will be posted. And you can see other firearm reviews out there as well. Great site, great people, great camaraderie. If you're looking for a site that really will get you into reloading, people that will take time with you to answer your questions, not get frustrated with you, then I encourage you to visit the Reloading or reloadersnetwork.com. That is the reloadersnetwork.com. Enough of me gabbing about and drooling over this K22 Masterpiece. Let's get out to the range and see what it's really capable of. All right, range fans. We're back on the range again today with the K22 Masterpiece 5-screw. Just went over a little bit of the history of this particular firearm with you. This thing hasn't been shot in about 10 years, as I understand it, from the owner. Wish it was mine, that's for sure. But anyways, I'm on the range today with essentially 3 different brands of pistol match ammunition. We have the SK pistol match here, and then I have the Aguila pistol match. It's just, even though the boxes look different, it is just different boxes, different manufacturing, or marketing, shall I say. The manufacturing is the same, but different marketing from Aguila. So we're going to try, even though I believe they are the same from what I can tell, I'm going to try 3 different boxes. I got the old GoPro downrange. Man, I cannot talk today. I got the GoPro downrange, and we're going to put them on target. Hopefully, guys, and keep your fingers crossed that I don't shoot my GoPro. So we're going to start with the bottom right target. I am about 25 yards or 20 yards from downrange. Let's get out 6 rounds here, and we'll start with the old GoPro. We'll start with the SK pistol match. Man, I don't know what's going on with me today, guys. But don't be too critical. If you would, cut me a little slack. Gonna load it up with 6 rounds. I'm gonna shoot this thing single action. I did get it sighted in from back here, so I know approximately where it's shooting. It seems to be shooting a little bit low with this ammunition, but we'll see. I know the SK pistol match has a lot more wax or lube on the bullets than I've noticed with the Aguila 22. So let's do this. Let me get my ears on, and starting with the bottom right target. All right, so it looks like it's shooting a little bit low. These Aguilas, oh wow, the SK pistol match seems a little bit hard to eject out of this pistol. That's not good. I tell you what, let me go work on getting these rounds out. That's odd. Let me go work on getting these rounds out, and I'll be right back. All right, seems like the SK pistol match, I believe this pistol might have some tight chambers, but I know that it does need to be cleaned as well and lubed up a little bit. And we'll do that once we get back home to return it in pristine shape to its owner. But now we've got some of the white box Aguila pistol match in, and we're about at 20 yards here downrange. We're going to shoot a group now at the bottom left target. Let me get my ears on. I'm putting the front sight right over the center of the bullseye. We'll see what I'm made of today. I can't talk worth a hoot.
Stop that agent again.
Maybe my shooting's a little bit better than my communication today. All right, not bad. Oh gosh, this wants to stick also. This thing is really in need of a cleaning. So again, let me head down range and take a look at the target. And it looks like it groups bottom left pretty good from 20 yards. But gonna head down range, take a look at the target, and then get some of the brown box Aguila pistol match loaded and see what we can do on the top 2 targets. Stay tuned. All right, back with some gold box or brown box Aguila pistol match ammunition. I did, because it's been sticking on me on the extraction, I did drop a little CLP down the chambers, and we'll see what she shoots like on the top left target. I will tell you, this old K22, it's still sticking, isn't it? There we go. This old K22 for, it just needs to be clean. It really needs to be clean. I ought to shame its owner and call him out on video. We're going to take some more of this brown box Aguila and put 6 more rounds downrange on the top right target. I ought to call him out and shame him in public for this thing sticking like this and being so dirty. Obviously, got a little blood there. Obviously, it comes from just a lack of cleaning, but we're going to clean it up for him. He does, I got to say, the guy really does do a good job of taking care of his firearms. It's just this one hasn't been out of the safe in about 10 years. And I'm enjoying the opportunity to get to put the rounds down range today. So let's put these 6 rounds down range and see how they shoot. They might not be as tight as the SK pistol match. Let's go for it. Top right target. Woo, what an awesome piece of history. The Smith & Wesson 5-screw K22 Masterpiece. Man, what a pleasure. Single action trigger is great. Double action trigger is great. I'm going to plink a little bit before I start to head home. But stay tuned. Stay tuned for the 4-screw K22 that's coming up next. And for this particular video, we're going to post it on the Reloaders Network first for a couple of days before posting it on dayattherange.com. The guys over there, or the family over there with the Reloaders Network, just a great bunch of guys. And I encourage everyone that is enthused about reloading, enthused about our sport of shooting, no matter how you do it, whether it's 3-gun, whether it's IPSC, whether it's just plinking on the range. You can learn something and will enjoy yourself over at the Reloaders Network. So stay tuned for the 4-screw K22 coming up next. This has been a pleasure, and thank you. Mr. Revolver Guy, dayattherange.com.